Okay, folks, today we're playing 51st State. Now, 51st State is set in the Near-Shima Hex universe. Okay, and this one actually depicts a post-apocalyptic America. Alright, and in this game, we are going to be playing as a faction who is trying to buy control of a colony, so to speak, rising from the ashes of this post-apocalyptic world and become the 51st State.
It's basically an engine building game where you're trying to build up points to get to 30. The first person to get to 30 points wins the game.
Alright, now to set up 51st State, first thing we're going to do is take our scoreboard. Okay, now, in the game, the scoreboard is actually on the back of the box. I don't like this, okay? So I print this thing out from Board Game Geek, and I'll leave a link underneath on where you can get that. Alright, all what it is just basically the scoreboard, and then some of the symbol meanings, and also the sequence of play. Alright, so we place that out where everybody can get a hold of it. Okay, next, the game comes with 4 different factions, okay? Each faction has a base card, 3 contact cards, and 4 tokens, which represents that faction. Okay, now, the back of most of the cards in 51st State has the 51st State logo on it. The faction cards do not. Okay, they have different artwork on the back. Alright. Okay, the faction cards also have the symbol of the faction on them. Okay, and on the contact cards they have the name of the faction on them. So, what we're going to do is each player is going to choose a faction. You can do this randomly, you could choose one however you wish to, it's up to you. Okay, for this game, Jen will be the Mercenary Guild, and I will be the Appalachian Federation. Okay, the other 2 factions we're going to place back in the box, they will not be used. Okay, once players have selected their faction, they'll set it up where they can see each of their contact cards and their base card, and then each player will take one of their faction tokens and place it on 0 on the scoreboard. This token will keep track of the score, obviously. The other 3 will be used for other actions during the game, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. Okay, next we're going to shuffle our deck of cards, okay? Like I said, they have the 51st State logo on them. And then once that deck is shuffled, we're going to deal each player 4 of these cards. Okay, now this will be the player's starting hand once each player has 4 cards. Okay, next we're going to set out the tokens. Okay, these tokens represent workers. Okay, these tokens represent victory points. As you can see, they have a little star symbol on them, and these will be on some of the cards throughout the game later on. Okay, now the victory point tokens are double-sided. Some have 1 and 2 on them, and others have 3 and 4 on them. Okay, in the game, 51st State, there are 4 basic resources represented by these tokens. Okay, we have these gears here, these cogs, which represent scrap. And they're usually used for the brown contact cards or the incorporation cards. And we'll get into how all these cards and resources work in the overview part of it. Here we have this token with the gun on it, which represents weapons. And they're used for the conquest cards, okay, mainly. Next we have this token with the brick on it, which represents building materials. And we use them to redevelop, mostly. Okay, finally we have fuel, okay, which has this little gas tank container on it there. Okay, and that is usually used for negotiations. And then there is this generic token, which can represent any of the 4 basic resource tokens. Okay, next we have these tokens with the arrows and numbers on them, okay? These are contact tokens, and they represent range. Okay, now, each set of tokens ranges in value from 1 to 3, other than these universal tokens here, okay, which only have 1 and 3, okay, and they correspond with the different type of contact cards that you have. The tan ones go with the incorporation cards, blue ones go with negotiation cards, red ones go with the conquest cards, and then, like I said, these universal ones, which can represent any of the 3 different types of contact tokens. Now the final type of token we have in the game are these redevelopment tokens. Okay, there's 4 of them. Okay, now the last step of setup is to designate the first player and give them this token. You can decide that any way you want to. In this game, Jen will be the first player, and that is how you set up 51st State. Okay, folks, today we're playing 51st State.
By Ignacy somebody.
Trevicek. Ignacy Trevicek. Like I said, the world's set in a post-apocalyptic world of Near Street Hex. Okay, so what we're trying to do is rebuild our state, our 51st state. Each player has control of their own separate state. Alright, throughout the game there's several phases we're going to go through. The first phase is the lookout phase, where we'll set out 5 cards and each player will select one, then the other player will select one, and then it'll go back. The first player will select another card, the other players will select another card, so everybody gets 2 cards out of this lookout area here, and then the last card is discarded. Does that make sense?
We'll take turns drawing 1 card until there's 1 card remaining. Discard that card, and then we'll each take 1 from the pile.
What she said. Alright, so we'll get into that right now. Jennifer, what are you going to do? Okay, so who'd you grab?
I took heavy gear.
Heavy gear, alright. Now, cards work in several different ways. Like I said, we could either conquest them, one-shot deal. You know, we get the resources in the red section. We could incorporate them, which is the middle section. Or we can negotiate with them and get the benefit of that negotiation every round during the resource gathering phase. So, let's see. What does my guy do? He gets a brick every round. He gets 3 workers and a brick. That's what my base does. Okay. So, I'll take the arena. Jen will take another card.
I'm taking the old brick town.
Okay. And then I will take the barracks.
This will get discarded.
That will get discarded.
Then I will take the card, and Barry will take the card.
Okay, so that was the first phase, the lookout phase. So the lookout phase is done. Next we go into the resource gathering phase. Now, in the beginning of the game, each player will take whatever their base tells them to. In my case, with the Appalachian Federation, it's 3 workers and a brick.
Mine's 3 workers and a fuel.
Okay, you'll do this every round. Okay, and later on, as you incorporate cards that generate resources with that factory symbol, you'll be able to generate resources through the cards, and you would place the resources on the card.
I'm taking my turn. We're playing 51st State. I'm going to negotiate.
Jennifer's first. We already did the lookout phase during the rules explanation. Jen's doing her first action. She's negotiating. So Jen has to spend 1 fuel. She gets a range of 3. We look at the card. The card has a range of 2, so she can do that. She places it underneath her leader. Then it'll go to me. I am going to play Baby Swift here. Okay, now if you look at her, she's a leader, so I don't have to spend anything other than an action in the player. This hand means stop, and I can get to draw 3 cards right away. You can have a hand limit of up to 10. I'll place her down and draw 3 cards. Then it goes back to Jennifer.
Okay.
Hold on, 1, 2, 3.
I am going to spend 2 workers to get a gun.
Okay. I am going to do my incorporation contract here, which means I would have to spend 1 brick, which he generated during the resource gathering phase, which we also did during the setup, or the rules explanation. Okay, I would get a range of 2. I'm going to build the museum, which has a range of 1, but I also have to discard a card, so I'll do that now. Basically, what this card means is, this is a trait card. It means for every card I have with that pawn symbol, I get a victory point. So this card has the pawn symbol, I get a victory point.
And that is true for cards that you played before and after.
Right, the equal sign means anytime there's an equal and a greater, like a greater than arrow symbol on it, that means anytime after that card was built. The arrow means you spend X, get Y. Okay?
Go ahead, Jen.
So I'm going to conquest, and it's a range of 1, so I'm good. And I'm going to spend this gun. Do that.
Okay. So I already did my incorporation contract, so all I got left is my negotiate or my not extortion. Conquest. Keep forgetting the name of it. So I do not have any resources to do anything, so I'm going to spend 2 workers and I'm going to get a gun. I'll place that on my base.
I pass.
Jen passes. Okay, I am going to do my conquest. I'm going to spend this gun, and that means I can place a card with the red section facing up underneath my base, as long as it has a 2 range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to conquest this tavern here, and that'll give me 3 cards during the resource gathering phase when I do it. Okay, so Jen pass, she cannot do anything else, so I'm going to go again. Okay, now Baby Swift's card, the leader card, is a little different from any other leader. Her part in the white ribbon down here is an action. All the other cards are pretty much acquired once the resources are met, the actions are met for it, But Baby Swift's card is different. That is an actual separate action. So for her, I'd have to spend 2. I'd have to discard 2 cards, and I get a victory point. I'm going to discard these 2 cards, and I'll get a victory point. And I place that on Baby Swift. Now, like I said, the location cards can hold up to 3 tokens, victory point tokens. The leader cards up to 5. The bases are up to 3. Okay.
Cards underneath.
3 cards underneath. Okay. There's a rule of 3 that I really didn't get into, but that's what it is. All right. So then
you can do Baby Swift more than once in a turn, right?
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to discard any more cards for her.
Are you passing then?
I think I'm going to. Okay, so I'll pass. That's the end of that action phase. Now we go into the victory points. We calculate our score. Let me reset this from the rule review. So I have 1 card out, 2 cards out. That's 2 points, and then each one has a point on top. I have 4 victory points. Jennifer, what do you have?
None.
Jennifer has none because she's a loser. So
If you're gonna be like that, I'm not gonna play with you. Then you'll be a loser.
She's a pouty loser.
No, you're just being a jerk.
I am not. I'm joking. All right, so now we would discard any unused resources. I have a worker left on my base. We discard him. And then we pass the first player marker to me from Jen, and we go into the lookout phase. So we draw 5 cards from the deck. Okay, so we have Sharash, and he will give you 1 generic range token. He'll manufacture that each round. Okay, we have Borgo the Almighty. He's a leader. Right away, you would place a 1 conquest range token on him, and then his action is after he's built. For every conquest, action you do when you discard it during the resource phase, you would get 1 victory point. Okay, place it on top of him. We have Rubble Trader. Okay, now if we send a worker there, we spend a brick, we get a victory point. Up to 3. He has a range of 1. All right. We have the Watchtower, and it also generates a range token, just one of up to 2, if you use it as a location. Okay, and then we have a Highway. It's a 1-shot deal. If you spend a gear, you get a range of 3 to incorporate a card into your state. So I'm going to go first. I'm going to take Sharash.
Borgo?
Jennifer's going to take Borgo. I'm going to take the Highway. Yeah.
No.
Jennifer, what are you going to take? Okay, and then we discard the last one. Then we each draw one card. And I gotta check the hand limit. 6, 7. Alright, I'm good.
Okay, so
Then
now production.
We go into the production phase. I'm gonna discard my tavern here, and I'm gonna draw. Or no, you know what? You got part. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna draw 3 cards. The tavern will let you do that during the conquest. Okay, that brings me up to 10, so I cannot draw any more cards.
I'm going to discard my old brick town, which gives me a brick
And draw 2.
and 2 cards.
Okay, and then I get 3 workers and a brick for my base. I do not have any other production buildings. Jen doesn't have any production buildings.
I'm at 10.
So now we go into our action phase. Okay, first thing I want to do is spend 2 workers and get a gun. Jennifer, you're up.
I'm going to place my leader.
Okay.
So Borgo gives me
A range 1 conquest token. Okay, and she can hold that on that card throughout the rest of the game because it has that clock symbol on it, as long as she has that card out. Okay, I am going to spend the gun, and I'm going to conquer the rebuild town. Okay, and what that'll do is give me 3 gears and a victory point during the next production phase, resource gathering phase, I call it. You're up, Jen.
I'm going to build this, turn in my 2 gears, and it gives me a 1.
Okay, and that lets you build 1 away?
1 away.
Okay. Alright, I am going to send a worker over here to Jen, and I am going to take that 1 range token from the heavy gear. Okay? So that gave me a 1 incorporation range token that I can use.
Going to negotiate. Spend my fuel.
Okay. Okay, now I'm going to spend that range token I just got from Jen. If I could pick her up, there we go. And then I'm going to incorporate Sharash into my area here, and he will give me 1 generic range token. Okay, every round, that's what he'll produce. Okay, Jennifer, you're up.
Alright, I'm going to conquest
Okay.
with this here.
With what? The range token?
The thing I got from
Okay.
Borgo.
Okay, so now Jen has 3 cards under her base. She cannot put any more out. Unless there's a couple cards that allow you to do it, but you'll see them if they come up. Alright, so it goes back to me. I'm going to use that generic token from Sharash. And I'm going to use the blue. Okay, normally you would trade it in. I'm just going to use the blue negotiate. And I'm going to negotiate with Hestonite, and he will give me a gun each round. Okay, Jennifer, back to you.
Okay, excellent. I'm going to put that there, give you back that worker you had given me, and I'm going to take this.
What's that? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, now, I can go back to Jen's card here and take another incorporate range token, but you can only use 1 location twice, no matter who it is, whether I'm using Jen's or I'm using my own. And in order to do that, I would have to send 2 workers there. Alright, so the first time you send 1 worker, you get the benefit of the card. Second time, you have to spend 2 workers, and then you get the benefit of the card, and then you're done. You cannot spend 3 workers the next round, the third time. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have it. I only have 1 worker, so that's not doing me much good. I do not have any worker cards out. But I do have this brick, which will let me incorporate with my rebuilding. So if I spend a brick and discard a card, I could build a building up to 2 range. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to build this arena. Okay, the arena, if I have any card out here, including this card, it'll give me a gun. Okay, with the gun symbol on it. It'll give me a gun. I already have that out there. I'm going to place a gun token on there. But I got to spend my brick and discard a card to do that. So, Jennifer, it is now your turn. Discard the gunshot.
Okay, so I'm going to spend this here and this here, which give me a range of 2.
Right.
And I'm going to build a parking lot, which for every card with the gear symbol on it,
She gets a gear.
I get a gear.
So put the gear on your card. Now that building, that parking lot, will produce for her. You only get 1.
Oh, I have 2 symbols.
Oh, I'm sorry. That parking lot will produce for her, but as you can see, the worker's X'd out, so I cannot send a worker over there and gain the resource.
That's every round?
Yeah. Okay, so I screwed up. I'm going to do something else. I'm going to pass. All right, Jennifer, it goes back to you.
Okay.
Jen passes, so now we add up our victory points. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, and then 2 victory points on 2 of the cards, or 1 on each of the 2 cards. So that'll give me 6 points. Now we don't add that up, we just continue with it. Alright, so I go up to 6 victory points. Jennifer has 1, 2, 3 victory points. Okay, now we give our faction tokens back to our other player. Jen will take the first player marker, and we discard any unused resources.
So these go away.
Yes. Okay. And then we go into the lookout phase. Okay, folks, I'm going to end the video here. Stay tuned for part 2 of the gameplay video.
Get gaming and have fun.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.